Madame Lalande.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the invitation to appear. Mowat NFP's research focuses on how the federal government can modernize its approach with the social sector to improve the quality of life for Canadians and others around the world. Mowat NFP has presented before this committee on October 22nd, 2018. On that occasion, we presented preliminary recommendations from our research on strengthening the sector-government relationship. Our paper, Breaking the Inertia, has since been released and explores these recommendations in greater detail. We also submitted a brief that summarizes the paper. Today, I plan to discuss these recommendations and emphasize the difference that they could make for the sector moving forward. The social sector is a key strategic partner to government in its efforts to address big challenges like poverty or climate change. However, the ways the federal government regulates and supports the sector, as you've heard, fail to recognize the realities of the modern world. They were not designed to meet today's challenges. Mowat NFP's research has confirmed many of the key themes emerging from prior testimonies provided to this committee. Our research indicates that nonprofit organizations and charities continue to face a variety of challenges that impact their ability to deliver their missions. These include lack of data on the sector to assist with planning, difficulty attracting and maintaining a consistent base of volunteers, as you heard, increasing demand for services, difficulty securing funding, particularly donations to support operations, challenges with earning income, growing employment precarity, increasing pressure to track and deliver on outcomes, but without providing adequate support for building measurement capacity, lack of data literacy and technical skill sets, lack of capacity in social finance, onerous tracking and reporting requirements. Charities and nonprofits experience challenges like these to varying degrees based on their size, scope, mission, funding, subsector, and geographic location. Despite these challenges, the sector has enormous potential. The sector is a largely underutilized resource for solving complex social and environmental issues. So how should the government help realize the sector's potential more effectively? What should the role of the federal government be? Nearly every department of government has some connection to the social sector. Yet there is no one-stop shop for social sector organizations to work collaboratively with the government. There is no federal minister, no department or agency with the responsibility for social sector issues. While governments are seeking ways to solve complex problems through horizontal collaboration, little attention is paid to the role of the social sector in these efforts. As a result, charities and nonprofits are caught up in complex organizational structures and systems within the federal government that constrain rather than enable their work. With no one assigned responsibility for enabling the sector, the situation is unlikely to change. A transformative, systems-wide approach is needed. For this reason, we recommend the following changes. Give the Tax Court of Canada jurisdiction over cases related to charities. This change can help make judicial review of CRA decisions more accessible and affordable for charities. Other tax-related appeals are within the jurisdiction of the tax court. It is appropriate that charity appeals would be addressed in a similar manner. Creating a standing joint committee for the social sector with members from both the House of Commons and the Senate. Society's needs will change and continue to evolve. So should the law. This joint committee would have strong symbolic value and would create a crucial mechanism for considering legislative changes. The committee has also heard from other witnesses on issues related to earned income and business activities, direction and control, differential tax credits, and government transfers. We endorse the recommendations put forward by the Mowat Foundation in their submissions to the committee. We also propose establishing a social sector office as a permanent unit within a central agency, such as the Privy Council Office, to support the enabling functions. A standalone office within a central agency would allow for policy coordination across departments and would be more effective at promoting a whole-of-government approach. More specifically, the office could support cross-sector partnerships, work with the sector to promote volunteerism and giving nationally, share best practices and lessons learned, ensure that critical research is undertaken on the sector, engage the sector on issues relating to social finance and social innovation, coordinate provincial federal government activities as appropriate, and support efforts to streamline funding applications and reporting systems. The sector has called for this type of public service leadership for decades. In 2006, the Blue Ribbon Panel emphasized the need for cross-departmental leadership on grants and contribution issues. A centralized social sector office could play this role and reduce duplication of efforts. There are parallels between the mandate for this proposed office of the social or for the social sector and the Office for Social Innovation that was recommended in the Social Innovation and Social Finance Co-Creation Steering Group report. Where possible, it would be prudent to align these mandates and establish clear constitutional links. We also recommend expanding the scope of the proposed Social Innovation Council to include enabling and advising on the social sector more broadly. The Council's role would be connected to, but distinct from, the recently reinstated Advisory Committee for the Charities Directorate. This approach is required because the sector is facing enormous challenges that, as you've heard, stretch well beyond the activities of the Charities Directorate. The mandate of the Charities Directorate does not include nurturing or enabling charities. They are a tax regulator. Given the advisory committee will be located within the tax regulator, it is unlikely that they'll be able to truly support the enabling systems-wide functions that are needed. The Social Innovation Council and the Social Sector Office would be more effective institutions within government to embrace the depth and complexity of the issues facing the sector. We recommend anchoring the commitment to long-term policy action by embedding the office, council, and its associated funding structures and legislation. This would make the federal government's approach more visible and less vulnerable to political changes. Other jurisdictions have taken such an approach. The UK Office of Civil Society exists to promote a whole-of-government shift on sector reform and exists wholly independent from the UK Charity Commission, which acts as the regulator. The Australian Charities and Not-for-Profits Commission integrates regulatory and enabling functions, but remains distinct from the Australian Taxation Office. By implementing these recommendations in tandem with the others contained in our report, the federal government would complete a built-to-last transformation of the government sector partnership that recognizes and deepens the roles each plays in achieving social change. Thank you for your time. I am pleased to answer any questions.